Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the music rating, ranking, and reviewing podcast we like to call Music Meltdown, which we rate, rank, and review any artist discography, songs, musical topics. You know the drill. Today, we're going to be talking about a bit of a 90s shoegazy act. Um, we're talking about Slowdive. Slowdive won a recent poll that I did with a couple of other artists. As you can see here, I have a new microphone. I hopefully sound better than what I did before. I wanted to make a pull out of just some quick artists I could do that had smaller discographies so I can quickly push something out. Artists in question were the Cardigans, Margot and the Nuclear So-and-Sos, Slowdive, and a few others. Ultimately, it came down between the Cardigans and Slowdive, with Slowdive pulling it out. However, to sort of contrast that, Cardigans were a band I knew incredibly well. I knew basically every record inside and out, whereas Slowdive I knew basically nothing about. The only Slowdive record I'd ever heard was Souvlaki, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought it was good, but ultimately wasn't something that left too much an impression on me. Unfortunately, that's going to ring true for a lot of the Slowdive catalog. They're just missing a bit of something to really make me fully invested. You'll see throughout this, they occupy kind of like a weird realm and where they're like 50% into shoegaze. They have a lot of like ambient qualities and almost bordering upon post rock at points. And it's like just in the middle of those two genres to where I struggle to be fully invested in any of these albums. I don't have anything truly down in the weeds, so I just want to make that apparent now. I do like Slowdive for what they are. They're just not a personal favorite band. That being said, there are 5 records here, so let's get into it. With my least favorite Slowdive record being their most recent one, Everything is Alive. And yeah, this sort of falls onto the part of the catalog that I'm not a huge fan of. This album is, to put it bluntly, just a bit dull in my opinion. It's built across many just sort of dream pop, sort of neo psych ideas that had been floating around for a while. It's a bit poppier than what they had done previously on records like Souvlaki and Just for a Day. And personally speaking, I don't find it all that engaging. Probably my biggest issue throughout the entire catalog is I don't love either of the vocalists, Rachel Goswell or Neil Halstead. I don't find either of their voices to be really all that deeply engaging to me, which is probably the main reason why I'm not huge on Souvlaki as a not Souvlaki, big on Slowdive as a whole. This album, while not bad or anything like that, I just find it fairly disinteresting, and it doesn't really have a highlighted song. I have it at 2.5 stars, not a favorite. Going up from there, I have the final record in their initial run. I have Pygmalion. This is a tricky one because in some ways this has some of my favorite musical ideas and styles that they were doing across the catalog. However, I also find it to be kind of dull. This band is just really tough for me to talk about. I like the more acoustic and sort of softer instrumentation on here, and I feel like this is where you start to get more of like the pseudo post rock influences that the group had. The issue I run into with all of these albums, I just don't find them that gripping. The sounds and atmosphere are consistently nice, but very often into the songs really like erupt or really just blow you away in the way that I would hope for them to. It's something that I don't mind listening to, but on the whole, I just don't find that personally engaging. I have it at 3 stars. This is a group that I struggle with a good bit. Going just up from there, I'm going with their debut record, Just for a Day, which I don't dislike this record. To clarify everything I'm going to talk about further on, I have it 3.5 stars. I think that they are perfectly good records. However, I just personally don't love them. It's a solid listen, but truly it doesn't leave me with too much to discuss. At its core, it's a shoegaze record, very noisy, but a bit ethereal and a bit lush to it. Lyrically and vocally, there's not really much to write home about, but that does lead to my primary issue with the record, which is that, especially on this one, it just kind of blends together, in my opinion. I don't really see too much replayability either. Sure, it's an enjoyable listen, but on the whole, it's not really all that engaging to me. I have it at 3.5. I do enjoy listening to it, but all things considered, I just don't think it's a great record. Going just up from there, I have their self titled record, Slowdive. This was their comeback. I believe this came out in 2017, I want to say, and it's pretty good. This one is leaning a little bit closer to what I would want from them, having a bit more of sort of movements and sort of crescendos within their songs, while as well having a bit more direct pop appeal at points. But it still just simply lacks anything I'm that drawn to, and I think that predominantly leads down to me not caring much about their songwriting or just their lyricism, their songwriting or their voices. It's at 3.5 for me. They always seem to be straddling the line between shoegaze and post rock, with this one having better climaxes and payoffs to the songs, and some of the choruses are among my favorite moments in the catalog. And I do think that they do a good job of properly diversifying their musical palette across this one. However, as I said before, the vocals feel a bit lifeless to me at points, and a lot of the songs just simply don't leave me blown away. I'm consistently satisfied, but I'm never really all that invested. It probably does have my favorite song by them, being the opener Slow Mo. It's good, but I still don't love this record, which mostly can stay the same about their number one record, Souvlaki. 3.5 stars. And I don't want to just go ahead and reiterate what I was saying before, but I really don't know much more to say. I had known the record prior, and I didn't remember much about it, and returning to it now, I still don't remember that much about it. I like shoegaze, and I'm all about sort of immersive soundscapes and atmosphere. I like Spiderland a lot. I love bands like Explosions in the Sky that can get into some Cigaros stuff. But I just don't find what they're doing, even within shoegaze. I don't find it to be that engaging. Give me like a ride. Give me not directly shoegaze, but adjacent like Stone Roses. I just find a lot of these other bands to be more interesting to me. The songs don't crash or come to a proper conclusion like they need to, nor are there strong choruses or resolutions to the songs here to really make them pop. Despite that, I enjoy listening to it. I enjoy the really dreamy, sort of lush guitar sounds that they have going throughout here. The vocals shine a bit better as well compared to the debut. But on the whole, I just ended up thinking it is merely good. I just can't imagine returning to it very often. So, sadly, I'm only at 3.5 stars. And it really does leave me a bit upset that I just don't really get this band as much. I want to like them. I do find them to be an interesting band, but I just rarely seem to find like greatness within their albums or their songs. They consistently operate at a realm of me liking them, but never really anything more. It is what it is. There are just some bands that are like that, and ultimately, I blame you for not voting the Cardigans. No, it is what it is. I still did enjoy going through the catalog, and it's another one to check off the bucket list. With that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this, and you all have a great time.